Today I'm going to show how to do blendings between two different run animations and make sure that the transition is smooth and the player doesn't see any discrepancies. So the first animation I have is just a standard run animation, and I'll go through the frames. So as you can see, he's just running. Normal casual run. And the second animation is a more crouched run. And the first thing I do is I make sure the run animations have the same number of frames. In this case, 12. So this one has 12, and this one has 12. It just makes blending that much more easier between run animations. And also, I make sure that the foot placements are the same or close to it. That way, the feet won't display weird anomalies when you're trying to do the blends. So if the foot is on the ground on frame 2, as you can see here, it should be on the ground on frame 2 here. And as you can see, it is. As you can see, there can be minor bends in the feet. That's okay with the blends. It's just that the feet should track similarly in both animations. Now, this makes everything fairly easy to do the blends. There's only a few more details which I'll cover in the next section of this video. But I'll talk about, for example, blending animations that are, say, a walk and a run that have different number of frames. For instance, let's say the standing up is a walk and it has 10 frames, and this crouch is a run and it has 20 frames. In that case, the feet still have to match, but in relative terms. So for instance, in this 10 frame walk animation, if the foot is on the ground on frame 5, so say halfway through the animation, the foot in the run animation also has to be on the ground halfway between the duration of the animation. So in this case, it would be frame 10, since it's a 20 frame animation. And then when you do the blend, since it's going from a 10 frame animation in this walk to a 20 frame animation, the 10 frame animation will have to be slowed down when you're playing it back. That way you'll get a nice sync with the feet, and you won't get some weird in between frames as you do the blend. So you'll have to sync that up manually. However, you can do that in your engine. I like to keep it simple, so since it's 2 runs, I made them the same duration and made the feet placement relatively similar. So I'll show the run from the front. So here, single step it. Just your standard run. And then the crouch run from the front. The arms aren't so much of a problem to get them to sink in when you do the blend. It's more forgiving, but they should still be relatively close. It's more the feet you should be concerned with when you do the blend, so that everything syncs up nicely. And I'll show the video on the iPhone where you can see how it does a nice smooth transition by following just a simple rule of keeping the feet relatively close in both animations and making sure that the duration of the animations is the same lengthwise. But before I do that, I'm going to show the rig that the animator uses, and also I guess the IK settings, and I'll show that right now. Yeah, here she is. And here you can see just how much it is of a team effort to make these games. I have absolutely no understanding of how to set up these rigs or why you would want to set it up in this particular way, but it really helps the animator, and everyone's a specialist in their own field. But I'll at least show a little bit based on my very limited understanding. With me in Maya, I know enough to be very dangerous, so I can write an exporter, but I don't know the intricacies of every little detail for Maya, and the animator obviously does. So let me first show, I'll just select some of the locators, I guess that's what you call them. So for instance, here's one. or a constraint that the animator uses. So I guess he uses that to animate the arm. There's other ones for the feet, if I can select. Yeah, here's one. So these help the animator come up with keyframes more easily. So if I pick another one here, maybe this, yeah, so see how the leg bends based on how I move the IK. So that helps the animator set up the keyframes that much more easily. See? And of course, I really don't know what I'm doing. So obviously, I'm not going to save this. So that's pretty cool that he has all these little controls to set up the keyframes. Oh yeah, that one he uses to bend the upper legs. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Of course, I don't know anything about animating, but again, it helps to drive the point that this is a team effort and everyone is an expert in their particular area. So I'll just, here you can see her animating. So all those IK constraints is what he uses to set up these keyframes that you're seeing now and have an easier job in placing all the joints of the skeleton for the model. So this would be the ninja girl that you're seeing here. I guess I can select. And I guess someone in the comments asked me, you know, about getting models from somewhere into an engine. How would you go about do that? And I did answer him in the comments, but just to show it more, I guess, visually, the way I do it is I wrote a plugin for Maya, which I have right here. I'll show you that. So I hit export, and I can export meshes, animations. In this case, if I wanted, I could export an animation and set options in the UI. So that'll export in my own custom format for the engine, and then I just load it into the engine and process the data file. The other way is if you're using, I guess, MetalKit on iOS, they have an API that'll take care of the details of how to load a mesh and just have it, you know, set up the vertex buffers and the index buffers and all the details. I've just done it this way because my way, it's more portable. I have the code, I know how it works, so if I ever wanted to get this game running on Android, it's fairly easy. I just port the engine over and I can use the same models, or at least make modifications to the plugin if I need to do something that's Android specific. So that's how I do it to get the models into the engine on the iPhone. I just figured I'd show that so that people can get I guess an idea, that more visual idea of how I do it instead of me just writing it in the comments. So in the next section of this video, I'm going to show this model actually running in the engine, and you can see how the blend works out and if it really is as seamless as I say it is. So that'll be what I do in the next section of the video. Alright, here you can see the run animations blending on the iPhone. So here we have the standing run, and now it blends into the crouched run, and it just randomly blends between both these runs. And as you can see, they sync up fairly well and you don't see any noticeable discrepancies. It's just a seamless transition. I could maybe slow it down a little bit more, but in the next section of the video, I'll slow down everything drastically so we can see everything blending, and you'll be able to see that it's a nice smooth transition, just like I explained when you set up the animations so that everything syncs up nicely. So I'll just rotate this so we can see the run from different views. This might be good. Nice side angle. So there, she goes back up. down. Look at it from the back. So there's standing up. Then she goes into crouch mode. As you can see, it's a more aggressive style of run. But the thing is to get the transitions right so it doesn't look odd when you go between one and the other. Now a little bit from the front. And for these two animations, I wanted sort of a cross between realistic and cartoony style animation. That's why the crouch is kind of exaggerated, where she's leaning in quite a bit and doing a sort of hockey player style to her arm movements. And then this one is just the more relaxed one where I guess she's resting from the crouch. But as you can see, everything fades in and out fairly smoothly, and the feet match between both run animations. So next, what I'm going to do is I'll slow this down drastically so you can see it running very slowly, and then you can get a better idea of how the blend's being made. Okay, here I've slowed down the blend drastically and also the speed of the animation so that we can see what's going on with the blend. And as you can see, it's still flawless. So by following those simple rules that I outlined when doing the animations in Maya, you can also get the same effect. So I'll just rotate the camera so we can see the same angles as before. And as you can see with the arms, it's very forgiving. You don't have to be so careful with the arms. They'll more or less look natural as you do the blend. It's just mostly the legs where you'll get weird poppings or strange orientations if you don't sync them up right between both animations. Do the back view. So there's going back to the standing up animation. And then back to the more aggressive crouch. So this is pretty much what I have to show for the blended run animations, and I hope you enjoyed it. And also I showed the rig that the animator uses, and again, I'd like to stress I'm just a small part of this. There's a team where everyone works together and is an expert in their particular area so that the game can come together. It's not just me. There's modelers, animators, a concept designer. So I just do the programming and these videos. Thanks, and bye.